If you do it right, TIC, I think, is a world of opportunity and revenues that could bring into your top of your funnel for your business. So let's get into it. So it's that time of the year. TIC is coming up, and I had a couple of thoughts in my head because TIC is a massive investment for companies. It's not a cheap thing to attend, but the thing that disappoints me a lot when I go to TIC is that, to me, it seems like the plan for companies is just to have a presence and nothing else. Nothing is tied into sales before, during, and after. So what I want to break down for you here now in this video is a simple thing. Simple breakdown in my mind of, I would just say it's a blueprint of what you need to do as a company for this that you are going in TIC to really maximize your ROI, really have it attributed from revenue from beginning to end, so that it could be something that's positive to your bottom line and not just something that you have to do every single year. Because trust me, if you do it right, TIC, I think, is a world of opportunity and revenues that could bring into your top of your funnel for your business. So let's get into it. So I want to break this down into 3 things for you. And the first one is we're going to talk about pre-TIC, we're going to talk about during TIC, and then we're going to talk about post-TIC. So let's get into the pre-factor. For everybody who signed up now, you're supposed to be doing a combination of a couple of things. Making all your customers and prospects aware. Then you also need to find out which one of your customers and prospects are coming and send them some personal invitations, because what I want you to do is tell them, hey, we are doing some really specific things for this event. And by the way, that's the additional thing I'll tell you to do as a bonus. It shouldn't be the same things that I could find on your website. You should have something unique that you're only offering to people who come to TIC, because if it is that you're doing the same thing as if it is on your website or your stores, if I interact with one of your reps, then what's the true value of me coming if I'm a customer interested in buying your products and services? So that's one of the things that I want you to keep in mind, right? The next thing that you should be doing, especially from a sales perspective and a marketing perspective now, is once you understand who is going, you need to make sure that they are fully aware of your presence, whether directly or indirectly. So that means your marketing team needs to step in with some good campaigns, some email marketing outreach, doing a countdown approach, those sort of things. And then most importantly, you have to be doing a ton of social media. Like if I was these companies, I think TIC is like less than 2 weeks away. Today's July 4th. I think it's like 16th, 17th, 18th, around there. I may be wrong, but I'll be literally doing content every single day. I'll talk about all the times we were there in the event before. I'll talk about the favorite things. I'll showcase the reps that they're going to see. I'm going to give hints into what they're going to get if they come down to the booth, because I want to build that anticipation. Think about it like a movie premiere. That's essentially what you're going to do, right? So that's pre-TIC. Now let's get into the actual during the TIC aspect. So what you have to do now, and this is what I'm thinking for persons, is that you need to understand what is our qualification plan. Because not everybody who's in TIC, everybody who comes up to your booth are your ideal customers. And this is something I've been back and forth with a lot of companies on, and it's been irritating my soul. You really need to have that ideal customer profile carved up, because if it is that you are trying to talk and sell to everybody, especially within a crowded environment like TIC, especially on the first and second days, you may have potential customers who are bypassing your booth because you're spending time with the wrong persons. So your number one goal is to qualify quickly. That means you and your team must have a clear plan of what it is that I'm going to ask those persons in order to qualify them. But here's the second part, and this is the biggest problem out of all I see companies doing. Why on earth are you sending the most sour person to be in your booth? Please understand this, that if it is that you're going to be in TIC, your number one goal is to be on your feet all day long and to talk to as many people as you possibly can. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to TIC, and I'll tell you over 50% of the booths, the people are sitting on. The people are on their phones. People are purposely not making eye contact with people on purpose. Like, why are you there? So for me as a company, you want to make sure and get those best people out there, and you want to make sure and do those things. Here's the other aspect of qualifying. Please stop doing this on paper. I see you all giving customers pen and paper to write down. You all should have a tablet that's directly tied back into your CRM so that those leads are captured. And again, this is what makes the qualifying process really easy, because even if somebody's not an ideal client, you're still capturing the data, because later on you could qualify that, right? But this is what you want to do. This is true and proper data capture, because this is what's beneficial. From the time you put it on a piece of paper, the time it takes to take that on paper into a CRM, into any kind of database takes forever. You lose that momentum, because trust me, you want to ensure that you contact these people as soon as possible, right? So then Here's the other one that I want you to think of, right? When you do the qualification, you have to make sure and put it into the system of how fast you can get the people on board. So my number one thing, as I said, once TIC is going on, the goal and the game that I'm playing is qualification. Qualify, 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 qualify. Let me understand what somebody is. Let me understand the environment. Let me use that to start conversations. And depending on the type of business you're doing, you should maybe book one of the rooms or have a spot in the area where you could have that specific conversation if you realize it's a hot lead and it's somebody you could sell to now, as in bring them into your pipeline. Make sure and pull them aside so you can get an opportunity. Don't let them get a chance to go to the other booths, because the other booths are your competitors, right? Now, TIC is over, right? And by the way, let's go into this with the qualifications. TIC has this one aspect that I'm not a fan of, which is the consumer days. Not to knock it, but consumer days, essentially people who just want to come for freebies. So I don't see that as like qualified or good clients, but it may be the people who come in who just have time on a Saturday to come into TIC to check out everything. So you have to make sure and qualify. The only thing I'll tell you to do is qualify harder and faster. Like, honestly, if people just want to grab a little pen or something, get them out of the way. But the people who are truly interested, rope them in, have the conversation, qualify quickly. Now, TIC is over. You now need to ensure that within 24 hours, 2 things are happening. Number one, that you communicate to everybody who filled in the information on it to share some bit of value, right? And that doesn't matter whether it is qualified or unqualified. Once in the database, you get admission out there. The second thing that you want to do now, so you want to are qualified, what you want to do is make sure that you set follow-up meetings with those persons within that same week. So TIC finishes the Saturday. That means that following Monday, they're getting calls and emails from you and your team to have meetings. There's a non-negotiable with regards to that, because the hotter the lead, the faster you reach out to them, we know you have a higher probability of closing. You want to keep the momentum going on, right? The second thing that you want to do now is that you want to have a post-mortem with your team just to understand what went well, what didn't went well, what's the data we capture from it, what's the potential ROIs we're looking at it from now, so you can set a benchmark for the team to say, for example, we had 200 potential leads, we want to get 50% of those things qualified and into the pipeline properly, or even sold to within a particular time frame, so that we could attribute this back to the ROI for the event, right? So that's the important thing. And then now, once you start doing that now, it's a follow-up 30 days later now to see, did we actually get business from this? And then can I quantify it? Now, this may sound simple as a plan, and I may be leaving out 1 or 2 things, but the thing is, these fundamentals, when I speak to companies, don't even exist when they go into TIC. They don't. They don't even exist. They literally just take TIC as an event of, if we have a booth, that's it. And I don't see companies, more importantly, in this post phase of the event, doing necessarily follow up and tracking it to understand, even if it takes 180 days, 210 days, what did our presence in TIC actually get us? And I think if you have these simple systems in place, it's going to make sure that this event not only runs smoother, but runs better for your organization, and it's more profitable for your organization. So those are just my simple tips. What I'll leave below is a link that you could get a simple checklist so that you could check off and make sure that you have all these things in place so that you can ensure. But the most important thing I'll tell you, capture that data on a device. Don't do it on a piece of paper. Make sure that goes back into your CRM. Make sure your marketing team can run some campaigns against it, and make sure within 24 hours, at least TIC finishes the Saturday. By the Monday, your team is following up with all those persons to re-qualify them, get them into the pipeline, and to set meetings. Happy selling.